Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Optimus Prime Issue 20. The Transformers 86 movie returns to theaters for one night only, and Transformers artist Marcelo Matere is attending CybFest Northwest 2018. Today is Friday, August 10th, 2018, and this is episode 89 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that's going to party like it's 1986. I'm your host, Charles, aka Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Yusuf, better known as Yoshi.
Yo!
Jeremy, aka Yakko.
Hey, how you doing?
And Daryl, the Cybertronian Beast.
Hello. Let's talk Transformers.
And we are going to start off, as we always do, with our donations, our beautiful, lovely Donatreons who have joined up in the last week. There's a bunch. I think there's a contest or something or other happening soon that they all wanted to be a part of, and they did. So thank you to Joseph, Owen, Heather, Kyle, Michael, Charlotte, and a special thanks to our newest duly appointed supporter of the Transmissions podcast, Edward, who is better known as Karuba, a listener from episode 1. So thank you guys for joining up.
Really, he could be said to be a listener since episode 1 of Alt Mode and of the other show. We have 2 number 1s, but really only one if you do legacy numbering.
Yeah, so we're not IDW, so we're not going to make things more confusing for everyone.
You mean Marvel?
They all fucking do it, Jeremy.
But yeah, so we are up to 99 Donatreons, so one more will get us to unlock the Transmissions Declassified for everyone. But right now it is still a Donatreon exclusive, so if you are a Patreon or PayPal supporter, you are the ones who get our monthly bonus show and no one else. But if one more person signs up and no one drops off next month, then it gets unlocked. And of course, stay tuned for our 5-year anniversary mega contest that will be coming up next week. So all you guys are in the running. All right, let's start off with a tiny bit of comics news. So this week, I think everyone already knows we got another flood of comics from IDW. So I hope you're enjoying that. This puts us even further behind. But yeah, we had Optimus Prime 22, Lost Light 22, and Unicron number 3 all come out this week. So all us Transformers comics fans are enjoying that. And you know they're racing to the end. But in other news, we also have a comic that is coming up on Kickstarter. It's not quite Transformers related, but it does feature a Transformers artist, and that's Jeff Sr. is doing the Unrustable Bastards comic. So I think you might remember the Unrustable Bastards Kickstarter for the toy figures last year. Now they're getting a comic, and the art is being done by Jeff Sr. And this cover looks like a pretty good homage to the issue where Rodimus Prime was calling for the head of Shockwave back in the old G1 UK comics. So looks cool. Yoshi, you interested in more Jeff Sr. art?
I am. I'll be honest, I'm a little hesitant with this, but I am. I like his work. I recently got a commission from him.
Cool.
Yeah,
he's definitely one of my top, if not my favorite, classic G1 comics artists. I really enjoy his work.
And he's just good people.
He is. He friended me on Facebook.
Fuck, he friended you?
Yes.
I didn't get a friend on Facebook. Son of a bitch, and I paid him money.
But you hate Facebook.
Yeah, that's true. It's like I love-hate right now.
All right, that's all the comics news, so let's go on to our comic review.
Transmissions wouldn't be what it is today without the awesome support of our listeners. If you'd like to support our shows and enjoy the exclusive benefits that our donors get, please visit transmissionspodcast.com/support.
This week we are doing Optimus Prime number 20 The Falling, Chapter 5, Endless Forever. Written by John Barber, art by Keizama, finishes by Casey Collar on pages 14 to 19, colors by Josh Burcham, letters by Tom B. Long, editor David Marriott, and publisher Greg Goldstein. We have 3 covers this week. The first one is by Keizama and Josh Burcham. It shows 2 of the Liege Maximals with the giant eyeball ship in the background. These Maximals might be very familiar to you if you watched Beast Wars, because they look a whole heck of a lot like Beast Wars, Megatron, and Optimus Primal. Cover B is by Casey Collar and John Paul Bove. And this is another one of these iconic covers that Casey Collar has done in the series, with Bumblebee as the silhouette and then all the other characters inside the figure. And then the retailer incentive cover by Keizama is just the line art for cover A. So Yoshi, which cover do you like?
I'm honestly not happy with any of these. None of them are screaming awesome or cool to me. Given the choice in the store, I would take the line art, the retailer incentive cover.
Daryl, which one do you pick?
I've been getting the Casey Collar covers because they're just really sweet, but I definitely bought 2 covers this week because of it. Keizama's and Josh's colored cover A is just phenomenal. It looks really, really good. Do want to point out that I know that Jeremy and Yoshi are, Jeremy usually likes the ink or the line art ones, and I'm assuming he likes it again. But I'm looking at this one here, and the color brings out the characters in this, because it's such a busy cover. There's so much going on in it that it is hard to tell what's happening on the especially near the top end of the cover. Optimus Primal almost gets lost in the cover on the line art cover. So when you look at the colored version, you're like, oh yeah, there it all is. It looks a whole lot better in the colored, I think. Yeah, I think it's really great cover. And I remember at TFCon, this book had just come out, and somebody actually grabbed their copy and got Gary Chalk and David Kay to sign it.
Nice.
I feel like I need to say that, like, Casey and Kay, they do fantastic work. And Josh does killer colors. There's nothing technically wrong with any of these covers. They just don't appeal to me, is all.
That's fine.
Okay.
You can have a subjective opinion and still be wrong.
Yeah, I was just explaining why you were incorrect.
Right. I'm glad you guys did, because fuck you both.
I'd like to say Yoshi's wrong, too.
Table flip of rage.
Transmissions Alt Mode. The opinions expressed in the following audio program are those of the participants, not excluding Yoshi.
All right, Jeremy, which one are you picking?
The cover A is the one that I pick for many of the reasons that Daryl already pointed out. That it's fantastic. I'm a huge Beast Wars fan, and just the amount of detail in there is, amazing. But I will say the Casey cover is, I really like it. It has a very nice symmetry to it that really, draws the eye. And if there wasn't a cover with Beast Wars, Optimus Primal, and Megatron on it, I would have gotten this one.
Yeah, I also really like the cover A with Beast Wars, Optimus Primal, and Megatron, but I think Casey's collar still edges it out for me. I just like this composition. As you mentioned, the symmetry is really cool there. It does look a little bit like Victorion and Devastator are giving each other a fist bump, though. They're not really fighting. I really like Casey's style, and I just like this whole series of covers. So that's my pick. All right, let's get into the story. Bumblebee, who's been trapped in infraspace since Dark Cybertron, is now joined by his old friend and mentor, Optimus Prime, who recently arrived after Onyx Prime, aka Shockwave, dropped him into the black hole Singularity in the Sea of Rust on Cybertron, Crystal City once was. Bumblebee reflects on the distant past when he first joined Optimus, then Orion Pax, as a cop, busting underground Decepticon weapons smugglers. But back then, as he watched Orion Pax get especially rough interrogating Swindle, Bumblebee was unsure if he'd made the right choice working with him. Bumblebee owed Orion Pax his life, but when even Prowl thinks he's going too far, roughing up the suspects, maybe he's not the hero he thought he was. But ultimately, Bumblebee's faith in Orion Pax and later Optimus Prime was justified when they teamed up with Megatron to overthrow Zeta Prime's cruel autocracy 4 million years ago. Megatron immediately betrayed Pax in his thirst for power, fully igniting the Autobot-Decepticon war, but that's a story for another time. Fast forward 4 million years to the present, where the war is over and Bumblebee died trying to stop Shockwave's plan during Dark Cybertron, and he was sucked into infraspace, trapped neither alive nor dead for the last few years. Optimus Prime can't believe Bumblebee has been trapped inside the Crystal City Singularity all this time. Prime asks if Shockwave was trapped here with him too, but Bumblebee had no idea Shockwave was still alive. He's been here in Crystal City all alone. Optimus Prime is distraught, thinking they have no way to escape and thwart Shockwave's plans. But Bumblebee's actually reassured that now that Prime is here, they'll find a way out together. Back on Cybertron, RC is surrounded by Liege Maximo's Maximal army. She holds her own for a while, but even she is eventually overwhelmed. In the battle, Sideswipe's rocket pack is knocked off as the Maximals finally restrain her. Liege Maximo gloats over his victory, planning to finally kill RC, despite the fact that Onyx Prime, also known as Shockwave, wanted her alive. Meanwhile, Devastator and Victorion continue to square off. Victorion tries to hold Devastator back with her gravity manipulation powers, but Devastator is an experienced, powerful combiner and continues his assault as Shockwave looks on. In the shadow of the warring combiners, Starscream slinks off, his ambitions, hopes, and dreams dashed. He was never the chosen one, he was just a pawn in Shockwave's game. Starscream's resigned to return to Iacon and accept his fate as a failed leader. Back in Iacon, the city is descending into chaos. In a balcony above the crowd, Windblade and the Council try to decide on how to fight back, but they disagree. Elita 1 wants to use her Titan, Carcer, to strike on the Maximal's eye ship. But Marissa Fairborn points out that the Maximal warship made short work of Metro Titan, and Carcer's the only Titan they have left to fight, since Metroplex is populated in city mode. Below, the Decepticons are getting restless, looking for Soundwave, whose betrayal of the Decepticon ideals was exposed by Shockwave as Onyx Prime. In particular, Needle now knows that Soundwave is responsible for his Conjunx Endura Horrible's death, and he's not happy. Soundwave isn't interested in arguing further, but the Decepticons momentarily forget their anger at Soundwave when Starscream appears, trying to get back to the city center and turn himself in. But the Decepticons stop him and want to know what he's doing back. At first, Starscream is resigned to his fate and just wants to return to prison, but the Decepticons actually remember Starscream's reign relatively fondly. After all, Starscream presided over the reunification of Cybertron's colonies and brought some prosperity back to Cybertron. Sure, Starscream lied and cheated his way to the top, but that's what everyone expected. Soundwave betrayed their trust, but with Starscream, they know what they're getting. Of course, this doesn't sit well with Soundwave. Of all the bots the Decepticons could choose to follow, anyone but Starscream. Back in infraspace, Optimus and Bumblebee catch each other up on what they've been doing, and have a bit of a pity party over who let the Autobots and Cybertron down more. Bumblebee can't believe some bots now worship Prime as a god. The Matrix didn't change who Optimus is, but the Matrix is a powerful symbol and idea. And in infraspace, where everything is digital information, maybe a powerful idea is what they need. Optimus opens his chest to expose his remaining half of the Matrix, and it starts to glow. And back on Cybertron, Aileron and Jetfire survey the carnage left behind by RC's battle with the Maximals in the shadow of the dead Metro Titan. They find Sideswipe's backpack abandoned. That's not good, since RC would never willingly leave that behind. But a voice tells them they've got bigger concerns than the fate of their friend. Shockwave is upon them, and his plan is nearly complete. But he needs his fellow scientist Jetfire for one final piece of the puzzle. To be continued. This issue is kind of a mess. It's all middle, which is kind of terrible for a single issue comic. So there's no beginning and no end. I mean, we have a Devastator Victorion battle that started in last issue and ends in the following issue. We have Optimus Prime and Bumblebee who trapped in infraspace. Prime was sent there, I think, a couple issues ago. He doesn't get out till next issue. it's just like it doesn't work as a single issue. I mean, it's just, you know, this feels like the falling story arc could have been compressed into much fewer issues. I mean, this is a 6 or 7 issue arc, and it's just being drawn out. I think that this feels really like just a filler issue for me. The art is really great, though. I mean, I really like Kazan. I think Josh Burcham's colors are really unique to this series. The way he's kind of made it more like darker, grittier, and more, I guess, flatter in terms of the shading, the way the colors are rendered. And that trend continues in this book. And I tried to look at the pages that Casey Collar did as he did the finishes and the inks on Keizama's work, and I don't think I think it's, if you really look closely, it's noticeable, but I don't think it's that it changes that much compared to the rest of the issue. So it's pretty consistent.
I'd like to see exactly what finishes means. Like, I'd like to see like before and after, because I'm not sure if I fully understand what that concept is.
I just thought it was inks, but maybe it's something different. I guess if it was just inks, they said inks. So I don't know. But yeah, for me, this issue just didn't work. I mean, the story is just not a complete story. So, Yoshi, I'm going to start with you. I'm going to guess you have the same or similar feelings, or much harsher feelings than I do.
Well, let's full disclosure. I didn't read this. I feel like I didn't read this just because I haven't been enjoying these books. So you gave an order. I didn't follow it. I may or may not see everybody next week as a result. I don't know. It felt like, from your review, this was a classic Barber move of a filler issue to get to the meat and potatoes. Whether that meat and potatoes is going to be in the next issue or not, I don't know. But it felt like setup and filler.
The next issue is advertised in the back as the finale of the following.
Okay, so this is set up for the last book, which is annoying because judging from your tone and how I perceived your review, Charles, this just doesn't feel like a $4 book.
To be honest, I think the meat was like 2 issues ago when they revealed that Shockwave was Onyx Prime. I don't think there's much else in the story going on that's very interesting.
Yeah, there isn't. And you know, we continuing the theme that this is an Optimus Prime book, and to quote you, it was a pity party. You just had a pity party in this fucking book. And what the fuck? I mean, go out with all guns blazing. You know, this is okay. The only positive of this book is the art. That is literally the only positive. You got 2 masters of the trade. You got KC and you got K just kicking ass throughout this book. And I'm going to assume that a bulk of this is K's influence. And I want to point out an example on page 15 where K is trying some new stuff out on that first panel there on the page with the motion lines that bleed outside the box too. Like I don't recall ever seeing motion lines like this or speed lines like this. And the way it creatively bleeds out of the box, I really dig that. But it's to me, it's obvious she's playing and trying to find what works, which is cool. I'm glad that she's trying that. And she's got speed lines or motion lines or whatever you want to call it throughout the book, done in different ways. That's why I feel like she's trying to figure it out. And I don't know. I mean, if you're somebody who really loves Transformers art, this is one of those issues that I feel like is not only beautiful, but you're seeing the evolution of an artist here. You're seeing her go from where she's comfortable to outside of her lines, and eventually this is going to lead into something that is standard K art, and you're just getting a taste of it here. I think Josh maintains the G2 colors. However, for whatever reason in this issue, it is seriously texture heavy, and that is a huge turnoff to me, as everybody knows. I'm giving the art 4 stars, but this fucking story, man, it's like we're just waiting for the horse to die, or you're waiting for this last issue. But the fucking book is called Optimus Prime, and he just has a pity party on a couple of pages. This is man. You have to love art to want to give up $4 for this fucking thing. That's all I can say. I'm done.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Daryl, let's go to you.
I didn't think the book was as bad as you thought it was, but maybe that's because there was more action in it than most of the rest of the books have had. You know, there's some decent fights. I did find that it was, especially in the first half, the book was wordy, but that's what the Optimus Prime book has been almost since the get-go. It's been a very wordy book. I liked the beginning where Bumblebee saw a different side of Optimus that he'd never seen before, and you know, he's questioning his choice. I thought that was interesting. I assumed that, you know, we all know Bumblebee and Optimus are getting out of this thing. It's no secret. This has been almost a whole month, maybe even more, that they've been out of it in other books. I was hoping that they would have gotten out of it in this book, because to drag it out even longer seems pointless, especially with the delays and stuff that's happening because of distribution and whatnot that you can't expect or plan for when you're writing the book. You know, when you've got other things kind of going and running running parallel to your story, then you kind of want to get all your players on the table as fast as you can, because if they're appearing in other books, then you really don't want them missing from action in your book. That's just seemed odd that they didn't come back in this book. I liked the explanation for the Beast Wars characters. I thought it was good. I wasn't impressed with the art in this book. I thought it was a little weaker than normal. Some of the characters and the way that they looked, just it didn't appeal to me. And then that's fine. I mean, it's the style, and I don't mind it. It's just it's almost too gritty for me. There are some panels where they looked okay. For the most part, it was very gritty and almost to the point where it looked unpolished, and I found it to be subpar, I guess would be the name. But yeah, other than that, it was a decent story. I didn't dislike it. Also, the one thing I did want to bring up, isn't the Mistress of Flame dead?
Not till Unicron #1.
See, I read this and I'm like, wait a minute, she's dead. Yeah, she appears in 2 panels here, so that's all. It's all timeline's all fucked up. Yeah, here I thought I had something cool to bring to the table tonight, but no, Charles knows all.
They should have had like a Unicron numbering scheme on each thing that, you know, once it's all done, you can put them in order.
With the interview that Mikey did for Moonbase with John Barber, he mentioned that he's going to be very busy, so you won't see him on any social media for the next little while. And that's to be expected. He's the big cheese at IDW now. I did tweet at him, and I never got a response. I kind of didn't expect one, but I was really hoping to get a reading order for these books, because it's gonna get crazy here, and to get these books out of order, where we're already out of order, and we haven't even gotten to Unicron #2 yet. It's getting kind of wacky.
Well, we were out of order with the free comic book day Unicron.
It's true, yeah, but we knew that one was coming up. All in all, I thought this story was okay. I'm not a huge fan of the art in this one. I think there have been better ones, but that's just my opinion on it.
So, I mean, at this point, issue 22, Optimus Prime 22 is out. And if you read 22, the free comic book day Unicron #0 actually takes place like in the middle of issue 22. So then Unicron #1 is after after Optimus Prime #22. I don't know where 23 fits in, but going forward, I guess that's the ordering.
All right. Maybe we should keep the running reading.
Oh, well, the wiki's got it covered, probably. Chris McFeely is usually on top of that.
Passing the buck, are we?
All right, Jeremy, what are your thoughts?
I have to agree with everybody. I think you said this suffers from like the middle kind of syndrome, but it's not really the middle. It's almost the end. I mean, this should have been a part 3 or part 4. And I mean, I like a lot of the background stuff we're getting. You know, the content of all of the stuff is good. It's just the placement in the story, and it's just nothing really happens. So yeah, it's just like the beginning of the Optimus Prime series where we had that 7-parter, and we were like, this just went on way too long. It's just the same thing here, and yeah, it could have been compressed into a 4-parter or 5-parter or something like that.
Yeah, definitely. That's my feeling as well.
I will say the art I did enjoy, and like I said earlier, I have no idea what finishes actually means on comics. If there was just, you know, maybe the line work wasn't finished or something, and Casey had to come in and help, or like you said, it was inking. I have no idea what that means, but I really couldn't tell much of a difference between the pages that Casey's credited as helping with and the others. So, you know, it's a good-looking book in my opinion. I just flipped through the paper copy I have while you were reading the review, and it looks so much better on paper than it does in a review copy. But yeah, it's sad that like the next to last issue of this arc is probably the worst reviewed issue that we have.
Yeah, I mean this. I think this is an indictment against 6-issue story arcs or 7-issue story arcs. That's just too long.
The optimal length is probably 3 or 4 issues, and any longer, it should just be a miniseries that is a fully contained, like a 6-issue or a 12-issue miniseries.
Yep. Yeah, what really got me is that like Prime was sent into infraspace and he met Bumblebee, and like this issue ends with him starting to glow. So it's like you don't even get a whole resolution of like how did they get out of infraspace? Well, check next issue.
Same Prime time, same Prime channel.
All right. Well, that is Optimus Prime number 20. So that'll finish up our comic review, and let's move on to media news.
All right, in media news this week, we've got a movie poster for Bumblebee the movie, but from Japan. And it comes with a trailer as well. So if you feel like watching the trailer for the Bumblebee movie in Japanese, go ahead, follow the link. The trailer they used is the one with Bumblebee and Charlie is her name, I guess, staring off into the sunset at the beach. It's a nice looking picture. That's the poster they're using. Also, we've got Cyberverse air dates now. So the first episodes of the Transformers Cyberverse cartoons will appear on the TV in the Netherlands, and they are going to start in September the 2nd, on Sunday. Will appear, and so we've got the first 9 episodes, September 2nd, 8th, 9th, 15th, 16th, 22nd, 23rd, 29th, and 30th. These will, we don't have a time? Oh, yes, we do. 7:13 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, because these are going to be 11 minutes long. So you'll have a commercial in the middle, I guess. And,
a commercial before.
Oh, before. All right, then. And then you'll have your episode run straight through and be done with it. Yeah, so look for it in and around those days on other channels, I guess, but we haven't been confirmed on any other channel over here in North America.
Well, this will be on BitTorrent at 7:35 a.m.
Maybe. And the last one, this became big news because the only reason I know that is because all the people that know I like Transformers sent me links to all this. Is that the 1986 Transformers movie is hitting the theaters again for one night only, but not outside the U.S. So, damn it. But if you are in the United States of America, you can go and see the good Transformers movie on the big screen once again. It is September the 27th, and you can go to the Fathom website and get your tickets there. I guess it's Jeremy, you got some tickets?
Yep. I actually went through Fandango, and
Okay.
It let me purchase tickets before they were actually supposed to be available. And I mean, now they're out, but I got dead center, like the most optimal place in the theater to watch a movie. I can't wait to just see this in the theater with other people.
Of course.
Because it's an experience.
Are you going to do this, Charles?
I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to see if I can take my kids. I mean, it's a Thursday night, so it's going to be a school night. But I might try and take my kids to see it.
I can't imagine it'll be late.
It's 7:00, so it's not too late.
Okay, they have a time. I didn't see a time up here.
Yeah. Well, I think if you go to I guess go to the website and go to your local theater. So my local theater is doing it at 7:00.
Well, it's 7:00, but it does have extras. There's a sneak peek of Bumblebee, and there's a interview with Stan Bush.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I would think it's probably going to start closer to 7:38.
Cool.
Like that.
That's cool. I wish this was happening because, like Jeremy said, I want to see it again. Like, we've all got the damn movie multiple times that we can watch it at our house, but I'd like to take my daughter to the theater and, sit down and watch Prime die on the big screen again. Good times that we remember from our childhood. No, other than that, it's a fun thing that they're doing. I remember they did this. Was it last year? They did it for one night at one theater, but this would be cool to have in other countries. I wish that they fun, cool stuff like that here in Canada, but they don't.
Yeah, if only they did it like a month later, and then it could be a big TFCon thing.
Yeah, maybe I could drive to the States to see it, but then that's a lot of effort on a Thursday night. Yeah, it's a lot of work
for a movie you already have.
Exactly. I'll just invite some people over. I'll watch it in my house. But that's it for media news.
All right, let's move on to some transforming pop culture. And this is a slightly disturbing item, but if you are getting ready for Halloween this year and you have a baby that is 12 to 18 months old, and you just got to put your baby in a Transformers costume, there is a Transformers Bumblebee, specifically Bumblebee movie Bumblebee, specifically for 12 to 18-month-old babies. And you can buy this at Walmart for $33.
Picture, this child is not 12 to 18 months old.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
I'm like, this is like a 4-year-old.
Well, this says it was sold by Costumes for Less, which I'm looking for now.
Derek in the chat says that kid is 37.
They have a number of Bumblebee costumes, so this is just the new movie one. You can get the animated look, like the recent RID one.
Mm-hmm.
You can get the DC superhero Bumblebee too.
Yeah, you search for Bumblebee and that comes up. Yeah, that's funny.
One's for your pets.
I much prefer the DIY cosplay type stuff, but as the parent of a child that's of 4 years old, he's probably gonna end up with something like this.
He could probably still wear this.
No, you couldn't wear a 12 to 18 month.
No, I mean, I was just saying, continuing the joke that this is not.
All right. They do have a 3T and 4T version available.
Yeah, it looks fun. I don't know what 12 to 18-month-old kid is really excited about the Bumblebee movie, but maybe it's just for the parents. The parents dressing up their kid.
You will wear this.
All right. Well, that's all That's the one item for Transforming Pop Culture. Let's move on to some convention news.
All right, we have a few things to talk about here. First thing is Marcelo Matere is going to be at CybFest, which is in Washington State, August 18th. It's a one-day convention that we've talked about. Marcelo, I believe, lives in Canada now. He's from Italy. and I believe he's doing stuff with the Earth Wars game. Isn't that right?
I believe so.
Forged to Fight, isn't it?
Oh,
I thought
Forged
he was
to
doing Forged to Fight.
Forged. I knew it was a mobile game. So it'll be interesting to see if he has any of those designs there. But he's done a number of stuff for IDW, for Hasbro, and it looks like you're going to be able to buy prints and stuff there. So check it out. And if you do go and see him, send us some feedback. Let us know how it went.
Yeah, tell him Transmissions wants to talk to him.
Yeah. Next thing we have.
Wait, what? Well, before we go on, this is close to Yoshi, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's already said that he can't go to that.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Marcelo Matere is going to be there.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
I'm betting he'll be at Emerald City this next year, too.
Yeah, he lives in British Columbia.
Since he got settled, he seems to be popping up at a bunch of the local cons around here.
All right. Next up, we have some TFCon Chicago news. Charles?
Yes?
They are specifically targeting you with these announcements. James Roberts, you might have heard of him. He's written a book called More Than Meets the Eye and another book called Lost Light.
Who?
He will be there, and he always brings scripts that you can buy, and he's going to do panels and stuff. And yeah, I think Daryl, Yoshi, and I are really excited to try to talk with him that weekend.
I don't know if
You
he's
think-
interested in talking to me.
Yeah, Daryl, I'm kind of curious about that story since you gave this great pre-con video about how you were very polite and delicate about how you introduced your multitude of books for signatures. Are you just playing up an angle here, or did you really upset him?
I think I more just annoyed him.
Okay.
Okay, so Yoshi, you and I need to go and talk to him and act like we
Yeah.
have no idea who Daryl is.
Right. Daryl's not allowed to wear Transmissions anything at this convention.
But if that's not enough, and I'm sure Yoshi is excited about this one, Kei Zama is going to be attending her first TFCon
Woohoo!
by going to TFCon Chicago. And Yoshi's met Kei before at Emerald City.
Twice.
So this will be great. We all love her art, and it'll be great to see her being exposed to the U.S. I think she's been to like TF Nation and stuff. So the U.S. Transformer community.
Mm-hmm.
And Charles is a part of that community, Jeremy.
Yes. And I'm
when
sure
he
he would
wants
love
to
to
be.
meet Kei.
I would love to beat Kei Zama. That would be great.
Can I speak to your wife, Charles? Would that help?
No, it would not. Don't do that.
Okay. What can we do as part of the community to help you?
Have Charles on speakerphone while we talk.
Stay
We can get
away.
a Segway and an iPad.
Find free childcare in Pittsburgh for that weekend.
That's your grandparents. It's your parents, sir. It's your parents.
Does the Patreon pay for childcare?
But that's all for convention news. TFCon Chicago is shaping up to be a really fun show, so I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we got, Charles.
All right, let's finish up the show with some feedback.
You too can leave us feedback that we can talk about on the air, on the podcast, or on the digital file. You just need to go to transmissionspodcast.com/feedback. There you can leave us voicemail. You can leave us an email. You can leave us all kinds of different ways of getting a hold of us. We promise. We've made it as easy as possible. All right. We're going to first go to Twitter, where we have a link to a Twitter thread from Mikey of Moonbase 2 responding to our Lost Light 21 comic book review. This was quite the thread, Charles. Is there anything to highlight in it, or should people just go and read this?
I'd say just go and read it. I just thought it was really very interesting, his thoughts and response to our differing opinions on the show, and talking about long form versus short form storytelling, and it was just a good read. So yeah, I mean, you don't have to go through and read this whole thread or anything.
We, as a podcast, provoked thought in others, which, wow.
Our job is done.
Yeah.
We can shut everything down now.
And thanks to Mikey for contributing these thoughts. Mikey, I didn't realize he was a very regular listener to Alt Mode. So thanks, Mikey.
Thanks for agreeing with me, Mikey.
He's got to get his comic review somewhere.
Next, we bounce over to Facebook, which is still a thing, with a follow-up message from Brian, who writes, could you also discuss, it is retconned anyway, it is retconned away. Does that mean that book never happens at all, or therefore should be skipped entirely? I'm asking because I like to organize in chronological reading order for reading. Thank you. And Charles responded on Facebook. I don't even have to ask you, Charles. I can just read your words.
Why don't you let me summarize? Because I don't think
because I sound like an idiot when I read.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Fuck, I gave him ammo. No. You do it. It's fine.
Yeah. So this was we had a comment from Brian last week about the last issue of the 2009 ongoing, that I think it was 31, where we had this vision of the future with Alpha Trion and Old Man Ironhide and having a generation of bots, and everyone else was gone. And we talked about how this vision of the future will never come to pass. It was kind of retconned away. In particular, Alpha Trion is now dead, so that's not really going to happen. So Brian's just continuing to follow up on this question, because if it was retconned away, does that mean this never happened? So I can skip this story entirely. So what I said was, I think it still counts, quote unquote counts, because this vision of the future was something that other characters in the story experienced. So in particular, Ironhide references that he saw this vision of the future, and that's why he always thought that everything was going to work out fine, because he was aware that things were going to be great in the future. But the other thing was that in the future, all his friends were dead. So that was a bit of a mixed bag. And this all came to a head during the Dark Cybertron crossover. So G-Axis, one of the villains, actually also saw this future and thought that the Dark Cybertron event that Shockwave was doing was going to lead to that future and the future of a perfect Cybertron. So characters in the story actually saw this vision and were influenced by it and took action based on it. So it still counts, even though it's not a future that actually will happen now. That's comics.
Yes. Yes, it is. That's a hell of a question, Brian. Thank you for submitting it. And that was a hell of an answer, Charles. Thank you for answering. That's it for email. We're going to bounce over to feedback from issue 80 or episode 88 off the website from Dual Mirrored Gridwork, who writes, hey guys, just wanted to let you know I enjoyed Hannibal guest hosting this past week. I really like what he brought to the show, but I have a bit of a perplexing situation and wish to ask for the show's help. Recently, well, sort of, I guess you could say, but it's gotten worse as of late. The comic book shop I shop at for my Transformers issues that I've been with since IDW started the TF run, by the way, has, well, I feel, to put it politely, slacked off. Thus, past year, I am still missing a fair amount of issues that they just did not pull for whatever reason, and they don't seem to wish to help make it up to me. I won't list them, go into detail here, but for my collection, I have about 75% of what I need for the time span, and I want to ask the cast what avenue sources that they would use being in my position. I regretfully am looking for an alternative way or store to collect what I get, but with this and IDW closing up shop, I don't know if I'll go on collecting Transformers comics after the current run. I plan on getting Transformers versus Star Trek. That's how they lure you in, buddy. I suppose after that, I hope to know what IDW plans to do. Thanks for an awesome show, and keep up the stellar work, Dual Mirrored Gridwork. Charles, I think you can relate to this. What would you do?
Well, I mean, there's several online websites where you can order comics. I mean,
Yeah.
What's the one that you use, Jeremy?
I like TFAW. I think Yoshi like Midtown Comics.
Yes.
Both are great, and both you can probably even get the comics cheaper than going to the store.
Yeah, they order in such bulk that they pass the savings on to you.
And you also usually have a good chance of getting alternate covers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You work at a comic book store, don't you, Daryl?
I pretend to.
Do customers come in who piss off the staff and you're just like, I'm not feeling his this week?
No.
Okay.
But to find books like that, like we know from looking on like the physical sales of the books, we know that the comic books, there's not a lot of physical copies of them out there. So figure out a list of what you need to find and just go searching for it on, fill the holes you have to fill in your collection and start up a list at a new store. If you don't like the store you're at, go to find another store. If you don't have one in your area, then start a pull list at like TFAW or something like that. Because if you show that your comic store that you're not going to take the shit from them, then maybe they'll do better or they won't exist.
Am I reading this right that it looks like he had a pull list and they just didn't pull the books on his list?
Sounds like
That's how I took it.
Yeah, like maybe they just didn't order. I mean, because like as we know from Charles,
we also don't know all the story. Like there's possibility. Like I know at Heroes, there's a lot of time that the books will pile up for months and months and months for somebody, right?
Yeah, and they just don't come in to pay.
Right. So at a certain amount of time, then they'll just put those books. They will stop pulling books for the person,
mm-hmm.
and if they can't get the person or they don't come in to pay for them, they'll just put them back on the shelf. Right. These people, the stores have to get the money for the books somehow.
Right.
Right. They're not going to hold on to months worth of books for you just because you said at one point that you'll come in to get them.
Yeah, and that is an industry-wide problem.
Of course it is.
I mean,
yeah,
they need to. I think that they need to either, bill you a month ahead of time, like you have a pull list for X number of books. Just send you an invoice saying, "Hey, or this week, these are your books. We're going to charge your card that we have on file," and then, if it piles up, it's still yours.
Well, I mean, I don't know what happened with DMG store, but I know sometimes, like at my store, if I say pull everything Transformers for me, sometimes they might just miss something. Like if it's not listed under, like Requiem of the Wreckers, it might have escaped their notice, and
like what happened at my store. Yeah,
exactly. So for that one, I actually explicitly went to the guy like before it came out and said, "Can you make sure you put this one on my list?" So, if you don't have the books explicitly listed on your pull list and you have like a general standing thing that says just pull all the Transformers books, it might be that the store, if they're not ordering a bunch of Transformers books, they only pull the ones that they ordered and won't special order ones for you. So, I mean, but yeah, I mean that you have to take that up with your store. So if you want them to pull specific books for you, you got to give them the list ahead of time.
Yeah, it's all about communication.
But yeah,
but again,
I think
it's 2018, and online is a viable option. And if you're not getting the service you want from your local store, go online.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know that if I were getting my pull list from my store and I was going in every week and every time a certain title came out or a certain, whatever, and they missed it, I'd be like, guys, what the fuck here? Like my pull list says to give me Transformers books or to give me this title, right? Why am I missing this title every time, right? Get it together or I'm gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either they'll be like, go away, we have hundreds of fucking people, and they'd be like, so see ya, I'm gone, right? Then or they'll say, so we're sorry, we'll do better, and it's been hard getting that book or whatever, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I know that if I were missing a particular book every single time, I would make a stink about it. Yeah, it's about communication. Talk to the store. Yeah, it's got to be a two-way street here.
Yeah, the cards are in your hand because you've got an alternative. You got two people on the show vouching for two different online retailers who've done us good. You've totally got an option. So you're walking in there with the card. You don't need to be intimidated by them. I mean, believe it or not, in this day and age, they're not in the comics book business. They're in the customer service business, and they can either treat you like $1 million client, or you can go somewhere that will treat you like that. You have the options.
They probably make more money off Funko Pops than comics anyway.
Yeah, fuck.
Although, unless you're Yoshi's store, they probably won't give you a free bag and board with every comic you buy.
Yeah, it does bug me.
Yeah, but if you go online, I know TFAW does a great job.
Yeah, so DMG, for the books you're missing, TFAW or MidtownComics.com. So,
and it's fun to just hunt in comic book stores and find this shit. Like I love going to new comic stores and pulling out my list of shit I'm looking for. It's so fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for feedback on this episode, Charles.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's Alt Mode. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks for listening to Transmissions. Remember, you can help support the show by donating to us directly via Patreon or PayPal. Once you become a donor, you will receive access to donor-only goodies, like donor-only contests, listening to us record transmissions live, and getting transmissions swag at 20% off. You can find links for this at transmissionspodcast.com/support. Subscribing to us on Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play is also a great way to support us here at Transmissions. Every subscription we get helps us get better noticed on those services. Leaving us a comment and 5-star review doesn't hurt either. Be sure to come chat with us on Discord. You will find a link for Discord at transmissionspodcast.com/Discord. And of course, you can always send us an email at feedback@transmissionspodcast.com. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.
Oh, Yoshi, stop abusing your keyboard.
Yeah, I will once you start accusing the wrong person of shit. Speaking of which, let me download our current book we're reviewing today.
Yoshi doesn't have any thoughts on this week's comic. Just skip him.
So you read it too, Daryl?
Of course I did.
God, I am the sole dick man here. I'll try and feel bad. The fuck?
Wrong button, sorry.
True, we are having feedback in the show.
Survey this.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Bye. Fuck.
Bye.
I thought you were waiting for one of us to say something, Daryl.